This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look.
Hello, welcome to episode 123 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda. I am going to tell you about my latest knitting and crochet antics in the first part of this podcast, followed by the usual Layercake section where I talk through the different colors that I have highlighted that I am promoting as part of the pre-order of the Breeches trousers in the heavier weight linen. I have highlighted 5 colors to promote, but you are open to order other colors as well from the selection of heavier linens that I have on sale. And I have updated the swatch pictures on the computer to make those a little bit bigger because they were very small, especially if you were looking at them on a phone. So I've enlarged those to make it easier to choose other colors using the swatch pictures, the fabric swatch pictures. If in doubt, of course, I can always point you in the direction of garment photographs in a particular color if you're interested. And of course, if in doubt about anything, you can, of course, always send me a message. But rant over. Before we look at the breeches, the lantern breech trousers in the Layercake section, first an update on my knitting and crochet. Well, last time I told you that I was close to finishing my MiZZo-NOT jumper, as I called it, a bit of tongue-in-cheek, because it is not the pattern of the MiZZo-NOT jumper that is very popular and that a number of people are knitting at the moment. I did my own thing in terms of design. Watch some of the previous episodes if you want the details on that, if you want to hear me wax lyrical about any of that. But in the last episode I had nearly finished, and I had decided that I was going to go for an edging made up out of self edges of our linen fabric. So this is a self edge of lava, which is one of the colors that I'm promoting in the lantern breeches, the lantern breeches in the next section. And some of the self edges have like tiny little frayed edges. Some of them are very neat, like this, for example. This is a piece of our out of stock peacock, and it's just a very cleanly woven edge. But other pieces, here's another good example, have like a slight frayed edging in one of the colors that the crossweave is made up out of. So I used that by choosing a self edge that is coming from, I think it's the dark teal, if I say it correctly. That's one of the fabrics, one of the linens that has the tiny little frays. So by putting the frayed edge behind and literally sewing it on using the same yarn that I used for knitting the jumper, you can see all my big stitches here because I'm trying to keep the yarn in a color so that it doesn't jump out and contrast with the jumper on the outside. Inside is not that important, of course. So it's just the self edge sewn behind in such a way that it's just those little frayed edges that peep out below my knitting. And that has done 2 things. First of all, it has created a stabilized edge, so this is not stretching anymore, and it folds in a different way. It doesn't kink as much as the chevron stitch normally allows for, because I didn't want that. I wanted it to be a bit more smooth, and it has also taken some of the deepest points out. That's also something that I've done on purpose, so it's slightly straighter, it's slightly less zigzaggy. The difference is easy to see if you compare this sleeve, which has got the edging already, to the sleeve on the other side that doesn't have the edging yet. So you can see on this sleeve that there's more of a zigzag going on still. And here the zigzag is a lot less. And again, you get that stabilizing effect of the edge, which of course now does not stretch anymore. It's exactly what I wanted. So I still have one sleeve to go. And the reason that I haven't done that sleeve yet is because I've been captured by another project. So one sleeve to go, and then this jumper is finished. And I think I already promised last time, I'll promise it again. I'll put a photograph on it on Instagram when I'm completely done. The other project that I was working on that I think I've shown before and I haven't quite finished yet, but now finally have, except for weaving in ends, which is unusual. Unusual in the sense that I'm pretty good at weaving in my ends as I go, is another one of my scarf recipes that kind of slight banana shape, crescent shape scarf that I've knitted a whole bunch of. Here's one of them in a colorway that I did in the past, which was a mixture of cashmere and I think a silk yarn. This is a Koigu yarn called Koigu Mori, which is a blend of wool yarn and merino, that's the word I was looking for, merino yarn and silk, 50-50%. And I have knitted little knots into it in a 100% linen that I'm not sure if I can still show you. I don't think I've got it here. But I've got it knitted in more of a wider edge, or stripe rather, here further along in my knitting. This was one of the colorways that Anne from Artisan Yarns, who is sadly no longer with us, used to dye for me in her linen yarn. It's a 600 meter per 100 grams linen, which is exactly the same running length as my own Layercake linen yarn. And I've used it here in the first section to knit little baubles in linen. And then when I got bored with that and I decided that actually I wanted to use up all the Koigu Mori that I had, I then did a line of a little section where the baubles are closer together. I then kept going and did a little section of stripes where I alternate the linen yarn and the Koigu Mori. I then did another section of baubles in the linen. I then did a section of 2x2 rib where the knit stitches are in Koigu and the purl stitches are in the linen. And then I finished with a little bit more striping in the linen and Koigu. Meanwhile, I had upped the ante with adding a lot more stitches on this side and decreasing a lot less stitches on the other side, because I wanted to end up with a scarf that had two sides that were similar in length. So if I hold this in the middle, you can see that my end point is much longer than my starting point. I kind of got captivated by the idea that with these thin ethereal linen stripes at the end, I would get a different drape, and I quite liked the almost snake tail effect that I get here. So I kept going with putting in lots of increases on that end to make it longer. So what started as an attempt to make a scarf that had two sides, 2 points from the triangle that were the same length, I now have a length that is longer, but on the other side than where I started. I hope I'm making sense. Sorry if I'm rambling. So I have to sew in the edges here. This is not a pattern. This is just me playing, and I'm not going to write a pattern up for it. So that's what I finished, and now finally on to the project that I embarked on just this past weekend. This is a test knit. I have completely forgotten the name of the designer, the name of the project. I will put that all below here. but it's a test knit that I found a call for on Instagram. I immediately responded because I thought, oh, I'm nearly done with this. I could do with a new project. And I mean, come on, look at that photograph. Isn't that a stunning, stunning jumper design? It's got a section of textured stitches at the top with cables, etc., creating these almost church-like arches at the top, and then it's got some colorway with a vine-like effect, and then again these arch-shaped in color work rather than textured stitches further down. So I played with different yarns. The required yarn thickness, which runs I think 360 meters per 100 grams, because this is on with 4-ply yarn on 3.5mm needles. My stitch count my gauge was way off. I ended up with with my own undyed Yak Blend 2 yarn that is 400 meters per 100 grams, and that I'm knitting with a 3mm needle. I'm still on a slightly bigger gauge than what is asked for in the pattern, but I already know from a section that I have knitted and sadly had to take back altogether yesterday evening. Boy, that was not a happy moment. That my gauge is changing once I'm into the textured stitches, and I think my gauge will be a little bit smaller than this as well once I'm knitting the color work. I will play a little bit more with my needle size. At the moment I'm on 3mm needles, and I'm about to restart the textured stitches. I will show you a photograph with how far I got. I was 25 rounds into my textured chart when I discovered that I made a very dumb mistake. For somebody who's been knitting as long as I have, it's a pretty embarrassing one actually. You may be familiar with the fact that if you have a repeating pattern, if there are any stitches that are unchanged from top to bottom, they are shown at one side, then you'll get a little section of stitches that don't exist yet when you begin, then a section of stitches in the middle, and then the mirror image of the half of the motif that you are knitting, and that will be another section of stitches that don't exist yet. But right on the edge of your repeating chart will be a couple of stitches, in this case it was only one, that is unchanged from top to bottom of the chart, and I managed to not see that stitch. So I was knitting the section of stitches that gets repeated, but without the separating stitch, which is really what it is in between. Now normally when you do your first round of charts, then of course you end up, and if you leave one of those stitches out, then of course you'll end up with a couple of uneven stitches. Your stitch count will not add up. It just so happened that with the stitch count of the size that I'm working, my repeat was my incorrect repeat was a 7-stitch repeat. The correct repeat would have been an 8-stitch repeat. And lo and behold, my total number of stitches is it can be divided by both 7 and 8. What are the chances of that? So I normally would have discovered my mistake in the first round of my chart, but I didn't, and I was on to round 25 when I discovered this. You can say, well, you can sneak in the extra stitches, can't you, to make sure that you make up for the difference. But in my case, what should have been a 21 repeats of my motif, of my pattern, turned into a 24 time repeat of my pattern because of those missed stitches in between, which means that if I try to make up for those stitches and I add them in halfway through my chart, I add 24 stitches to my total stitch count, which in the gauge that we are knitting with is almost 10 centimeters. That's not okay. So I had no other choice than to rip it all back out and start again. So as a result, all I can show you so far is a little piece of knitting, which are the stitches that sit right at the top here, and then a little bit of top yoke that of course is a bit longer in the back than in the front. That's where the extra rows have gone in to compensate for the back neck. And now I'm going to restart again with my chart. I will have to get my socks on. The good thing is that I do believe, and I do find, that if you have made a mistake like that, the second time you knit that pattern, even though every row is different because we've got cables in different places and combinations of knits and purls, it still ends up going faster and easier. Or so I believe. Maybe I'm just kidding myself here. Oh dear. So, back to the photograph of the original jumper. As you can see, that has been knitted in a kind of slightly marled oatmeal color as the main color, and then it's got this really beautiful dark muted green as the contrast color. My jumper, of course, is going to be darker to begin with because I'm using the undyed yak and silk base, my Yak Blend 2, in as a base color, as a main color. So I'm now going to use some of this same yarn and dye it in a very dark, kind of slate indigo type blue color over the top, of course, of this colored base. So I'm going to end up with a very dark muted blue as my contrast color and hope that that works out well. So if it doesn't work at all, then I have to rethink my complementary color, but that's the plan at the moment. And I am very sure that by the next episode, I'll be able to show you not just what I've chosen, but how those tests of the dyeing of the yarn will have worked out. If I don't like it, I'll be able to show you why and what I've gone with instead. So that's been it in terms of knitting. I have done no crochet. I have still got all my little crochet scarfies that are supposed to get these linen edges as well lying here on the table. They've all been abandoned in favor of my new jumper, my new test knit, and of course I've got the perfect excuse to work on it because this test knit has a deadline. I think it's not until somewhere in November, so it's not as if I'm being pushed to knit super fast. That's just the pushing that I'm doing because I'm so excited. Can't wait to see what it's going to look like. The other project that I'm still working on and that has been still abandoned, that I haven't picked back up yet, is my Tessellation Nation crochet blanket, which I'm still keen to work on. I'm still keen to finish at some point. But my guess is that I'll get back into it when the weather gets colder and it's more of a dark and moody evening kind of project, rather than something like this, which I can pick up anywhere and knit anywhere. It's such a small portable project still at the moment anyway, and it's great for knitting outside when the weather's still lovely. Whereas with my Tessellation Nation, I've got a couple of baskets of different yarns, and I'm constantly having to refer to the pattern and refer to my color stories in order to decide which motifs I'm going to crochet next and in which color. So it's a much more involved project, much more of an evenings inside by the fire or by the TV kind of exercise, and I think I'll get back into that this autumn at some point. So that's it so far. One almost finished project except for one sleeve that still needs its edging. A second finished project that just needs the little edges being sewn in, which is literally a 10-minute exercise. I have already steam blocked it. Same with this guy, that's been steam blocked as well. And now I'm on to my next jumper. So I just remembered there was one question that I remember receiving, I think on Instagram, about what I had done in order to line up my colorways with front panel and back panel and the sleeves. I have done no such thing, so the back panel does this in terms of colors. Compared to the front panel, you'll have a completely different set of colors. That was always the plan, and that was the idea with this jumper, that you don't do any matching. Having said that, what I did do was a certain level of matching of colors between my left and right sleeve. So it isn't a perfect match because, of course, every colorway has got multiple colors in it. But if you look along these sleeves, that you can see that there is a cadence in the colors that is similar between the two. I did that on purpose, and partially because the nuggets, of course, that I was using were all weighing between 5 and 10 grams, so there was a fair amount of yarn in them. And of course, when you're knitting a sleeve in the round, then you're knitting a much smaller amount of stitches per round than you do when you're knitting a panel like this back and forth, which is super wide. So I was aware that if I would just keep using up nuggets for the sleeves, then my color repeats were going to become very, very different, and I would have a lot more rows per colorway than I would have done on my jumper, and I didn't like that idea. So what I did was basically separate my little nuggets in half and use 1/2 nugget for one sleeve, 1/2 nugget for the other sleeve. Since I was knitting both sleeves at the same time, for reasons that I've explained in the previous episode that had to do with my raglan sleeve, it was an easy thing to do that because knitting both sleeves at the same time, so I would just separate a nugget and then knit up those 2 nuggets on my 2 sleeves and then choose my next color. So it made a lot of sense, even though it wasn't perfectly planned in advance. It worked out really well. So I think that's all I had to add that I forgot to say about my sweater so far. My preferred way of wearing this will be with a play suit, because I love the fact that I don't have the edge of a trouser like just above that waistline. I'll just have the full length of the play suit underneath the jumper, and then when you lift your arms or anything, it all doesn't matter because your body is covered underneath. So that'll be my go-to garment, Layercake garment to wear it with. That's it. Without further ado, here are the Layercake breeches in the heavier linen for this autumn. Enjoy. Breeches in autumn-winter colors, and autumn-winter linen or sturdier linen. However you want to call it, my linens are both weights, more densely woven and heavier than what you tend to see in more commercial brands. It's on purpose. I started with the sturdy linen to make apron type tops that were very hard wearing, and then in the course of course, I found out that they're also wonderful for all kinds of garments. They're just a lot more expensive to buy, and that is one of the key reasons that my prices cannot be possibly any lower than they are, because I'm using very expensive fabric. I also produce in the UK rather than in a country with cheap labor and then racking up lots of air miles to fly the clothes around. I try to minimize that all as far as I can. Not perfect. I never claim to be perfect, but I do what I can to keep the footprint as small as possible. And of course, I'm in the process of adding a new service to that small footprint, which is to allow all of you Layercake lovers to buy and sell your trade your second-hand layer cakes with each other via my website. So if you haven't seen or heard anything about that yet, go to the website and click on Pre-Loved. I'm gathering listings at the moment, and we're going to go live with the pre-loved pages 1 week from now, which is just right at the beginning of September. So, breeches in the heavier linen. I have actually wormed my way into a size small in the regular length. I have not lost any weight. I swear I haven't lost any weight. And I'm still a UK 18 to possibly 20 around my bum at the moment. And look what these breeches do when you wear them in the smaller size. Now, truth be told, they are really at their limit of what is possible around my waist and my sticky out hips. But the rest fits really comfortably. And even with that tight waist, I can still comfortably sit down. There is no chance that they're going to split around the back seam or anything. So if you are in doubt, have a look at the size guide on the breeches page, because it gives you waist and hip measurements for every size. Those are not body measurements, they are garment measurements. So as long as you've got 1 or 2 inches of positive ease, you'll be able to fit into them. If in doubt, still in doubt after checking the fit guide, then drop me an email, give me some size information, and I'll be able to help you choose the best size for you. So the regular length is cropped on me. I was trying them on yesterday to see if I could fit into them with a pair of boots, which looks great with that cropped trouser. And you can also really see with these trousers that it is a less voluminous silhouette, especially higher up on the leg. They are still plenty wide, these legs, but the way that they sit on you, they don't look quite as voluminous. And I have found that especially my Layercake lovers that are less tall than I am find that a refreshing look combined with their other Layercakes. So, color number 1, this is Turmeric. I have a selection of sizes and lengths in the breeches to show you, and I'm only showing you the 5 breeches that I have lifted out as the featured colors for this promotion. But this promotion, this pre-order, allows you to choose any of the sturdy linen colors that are in the collection at the moment. I'm redoing the color charts on the website to make those color swatches bigger, to make them easier to choose from, because there are so many colors to choose from. So have a look at those. They will be up by the time this episode is live, so it should be easier for you to choose a color that is not one of the 5 featured ones if you want to, but of course one of the 5 features one is great too. So turmeric, and I'm going to combine turmeric with a couple of other colors, and I'll do that with each of the 5 featured colors of breeches to give you inspiration in terms of color combination and also inspiration in terms of garment combination. Here's number 1. A lovely transitional outfit, this, especially worn with bare feet in little summery shoes or little pumps like I'm wearing at the moment. I am wearing a smock in the black gingham, and I've chosen this as one of the kind of neutral colors that I want to show you next to turmeric, because it is such an intense color, you may have the tendency to think, well, I need to combine that with other bright colors. You don't have to at all. If you go for something kind of classic like I have here in this kind of color, you could even go, of course, black. Then turmeric ends up being toned down a little bit by the rest of the outfit and creates these lovely color pops throughout the all over silhouette. The size combination with the smock is nice as well, I think. Having the trousers cropped and look leaner on me as a result of going for the smaller size. Not what I normally do. I would normally wear the size large in the breeches, and I will show you sizes large in both the regular and the long lengths. So Black gingham as a first combination with turmeric. Let me show you another neutral color. This is an easy dress in the steel herringbone, so a lighter color, again very neutral and lovely in combination with turmeric. Now when it's still warm out, then of course you can just throw on an easy dress without anything underneath, maybe just a pair of trousers, but no other top, to make sure you keep cool in the warmer weather. But when it gets cooler, then of course putting one of the love tops, the stretchy love tops, or an anytime top if you want the longer sleeves underneath, is a wonderful combination. And I've folded down the little cowl neck on this easy dress to show you the top of the love dot peeping out, to have these little flashes of that mustard color throughout the outfit. But if you wear, for example, an anytime top and go for either a contrast color or maybe the gray color, which is virtually the same as this silvery kind of steel of the herringbone, it makes for a wonderful wintry outfit, and it'll keep you warm throughout the cooler months of the year. So I am now going to bring in a contrast, one other color to show with turmeric, which I think is a wonderful combination, and then I'll move on to the next pair of breeches. Another color that is wonderful with turmeric, this is Royalty. As you may remember, Royalty is a cross weave of teal and purple, so no colors in common with turmeric, but of course purple is right on the opposite of the color wheel compared to the yellow that is in turmeric, and as such they are kind of opposing colors and they look wonderful together. So Royalty and turmeric, or your neutrals, I could have taken it in lots of different directions, but instead I'm going to move on to the next pair of breeches in Lava. I've kept the rest of the outfit the same, still wearing my Royalty smock and my turmeric cocoon love top, the stretchy organic cotton love top, and I've teamed it with the Lava breeches. This is the size large in the long length. This is the size that I would normally choose. It feels comfy, it's got extra space around my waist and hips, so it's all a little bit looser, and you can still see that it's got that leaner silhouette down the leg, even though those legs are plenty wide. It just, the way it's draped and the way we've cut it, it looks leaner going down the leg, and then that little lantern shape at the bottom where they come back into your ankle or your foot depending on how wide you wear them. Lava, a cross weave of the tobacco color, that fawny tobacco color that is in turmeric as well, but then cross woven with our gorgeous magenta. So it's got this brown and pink in it. It's one of those colors that absolutely shimmers when you see it up close, and from a distance it just looks like this soft rust orangey color, and then when you get closer you think, oh no, it's brown, oh it's pink. It's like, you know, it's a very exciting color to me. And that shimmeriness, that reminded me of the shimmery colors that you get in the fire of the lava stones when they are molten lava. So hence the name. So with that color in common, that turmeric-y kind of brownish color in there, I have chosen to wear those three different colors together. Of course, a nice colorful outfit without making it too loud. But let me show you how you can pull lava towards the pink scale of the color wheel by combining it with magenta. So I'm going to swap my top, but keep my smock on. Linen love top in magenta, and pulling the lava into the pink spectrum. It's a beautiful color when you see them worn together. And then of course you've got the purplish hues running through the Royalty smock. Lovely combination, lovely outfit together, and a way to pull lava in different directions, in this case Pink. Now, what about we go with the other way, and we've gone into the yellow spectrum already with turmeric, with that turmeric top. What about pushing it more towards orange, which strictly speaking it isn't, but we can make it look more orange depending on what we wear it with. Here we go. An easy dress in papaya. Great example of another orangey color that is made up out of two non-orange colors. In this case, of course, is magenta and chartreuse. So we've got magenta and chartreuse at the top, and magenta and this tobacco color, fawny brown at the bottom, and I get two different soft, rusty oranges that go beautiful together. Now, part of what I try to show you in these episodes is inspiration for how to combine your layer cakes and make cool outfits. But the other part is when I'm introducing a new color like lava, is to show it with colors that already exist, may already exist in your layer cake wardrobe, to show you how they compare. So it's how to combine them, but also how to compare them. It's like, how different is lava from papaya, for example? And the next color I'm going to show you is another one that I know I'll get questions about. How does lava compare to brick? Here it comes. A brick love dress in size 1 medium. So it's calf length on me. And you can see the nice shaping that it creates around the bust and body. But most importantly, this is how brick and lava look together. Match made in heaven. Even though they don't have any colors in common, because the red in brick is not pink. It really is a muted red color that's cross woven with apple green and then worn with lava, which is a fawny brown. Tobacco brown is still the best description I can think of. Cross woven with magenta, which is pink. So some of the reddishness that is in lava is coming from the brown color, from the tobacco color. So that reddens the magenta and it softens the pink in there. But look at these two together. They make absolute magic. And the browny red impression that a brick makes when you look down it is then picked up by that tobacco brown color in lava. When you literally look down the garment, you think, oh my gosh, they're the same colors. They're not, but they do really look it. And as such, wonderful combination. You can see here what a soft color lava can be. This is not loud at all. Depending on what you combine it with, of course, it either becomes brighter when you go towards that pink spectrum or when you really contrast it. But if you go more tonal, then it just blends in with the colors that you put around it. Let me show you one other color to combine with this, because again, it's a color that I am going to get questions about. Small check tulip dress, size 2 regular. So it's the same length as the love dress that I'm wearing underneath, but it's a size bigger. The size 1 regular is just too tight for me around the bust. So if I want to combine it like this, I go for a size 2 regular, which of course has got more bust width, bigger armholes, and is a perfect fit over the size 1 in the love dress. And it's like, well, why haven't we sized them differently? It's because the idea with the love dress is that you wear it slightly looser with those dolman sleeves. So it's the way they are meant to be worn. However, you can play around with that as I have here. So, great winter outfit, of course, because I'm wearing 2 layers of the warmer linen on top of each other with these 2 dresses. And then I have a pair of breeches underneath as well. So lovely and warm. It's the air in between the layers that creates the extra warmth. And I'm going to show you this small check right next to the large bright check, that new bright check that we've just so recently introduced with the easy dress and the play suits, because I got a question about how does the small check compare to, in terms of color combinations, to that new bright check. So I'm going to show them next to each other, but I also wanted to show you the wonderful combination that Lava makes with the small check. There are definitely squares in here that are virtually the same color as Lava. So small check and Lava are another match made in heaven. Let me grab the large new check. The new bright check, I think I'm calling it. I always forget how I call them, but this is how they compare. So you can see that there are more bright colors in this new bright check than there are in the small check. That's on purpose. That's why it's called a bright check as well. Show you the back of the dress and both sides of the easy dress. And you can see that there are not only brighter colors in the easy dress, but of course the colors that are in there jump out more because the squares are bigger. So the impact of the colors is quite different. Can you wear them together? Absolutely, because of course they also have a number of colors in common. So I could go for an easy dress in the new bright check and then wear it with a pair of baggies, for example, in the small check and have a beautiful combination because they will look like they're really designed to be worn together. Lots of colors in common, but you see them next to each other like this, you can see the brightness that jumps out in that new bright check compared to the small check. I hope that answered the questions that I've had about it. Let me move on to the next outfit. So we started in the blue spectrum with, when I first showed Lava, by combining it with that royalty smock, and I'm finishing in the blue spectrum again as well by showing it with a love tunic in damson. Damson, of course, a cross weave of a mauve, purple and teal. So it's got teal just like royalty does, and it's another color that in the cross weave looks more blue than it really is when you see it up close, but with a mauvey purple rather than with the deep bright purple that is cross woven with royalty in royalty with teal in royalty. And as you can see, this is just a more muted blue result, but again lovely worn with Lava. And again, to just emphasize the sizing, around my bum I'm a size 18/20 UK, and I'm wearing the size large in the long length, which is full length on me. I'm 5'10", although I always say 5'10". It's probably more 5'9" by now, because I'm probably shrinking. I've never actually checked, but you know, being the age that I am now, I've probably shrunken already. I'm still proudly saying that I'm 5'10". So I will at some point measure my height, although I don't think I want to know whether I've shrunk or not. Anyway, I'm moving on to the next color of breeches, and that is looking for lilac. The third different size of breeches that I'm showing you today, this is the size large, which is what I was just wearing in Lava, in the regular length, so that cropped on knee length again, and combining it with that damson love tunic that I just had on already. Of course, damson having a mauvey purple and teal in it then pairs beautifully with looking for lilac, which is a purple and then cross woven with a dark gray, the same dark gray that is in charcoal, where it is cross woven with black. So lovely and soft outfit. It is bluey and purpley and tealy, but not bright, all muted. So let me jazz up this outfit a little bit, not in terms of color, but in terms of shapes. Staying with the same muted colors, but adding a tail smock in the same purple looking for lilac color, having my love tunic underneath, so tummy is properly covered, and you know, I can wear this cropped top that doesn't reach down to my belly button, wear this crop top without getting all self-conscious about my shape and my silhouette by adding volume and flare and lots of swing, all in the right places. Feeling great about this outfit. I can move freely. I can just puddle out when I sit down. I don't have to try and hold everything in and whatever. Super comfortable and super cool. So I'm going to combine this Looking for Lilac and teal combination with another color that is just like a washed out version almost of it. Let me show you what I mean. Another easy layer to wear over the top. I've gone back out of the tail smock and I've put on a step top in the small size in Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is a very pale light version of teal and then crosswoven, like almost a duck egg, and then cross-woven with a very pale light lilac. So it's almost like pale versions of the two colors that make up damson. And again, of course, as a result, wonderful to wear together. You can see the sleeves of the love tunic just peeping out. If I would wear the large size of the large version of the step top, then the sleeves would come down a little bit lower. They would probably just about hide the edges of the sleeves of the love tunic, but I would still have a good panel in the front of the love tunic that you would see. And of course, it's covered in the back by that long panel. And I can then, of course, combine this with other tops, wearing it either with the breeches or any other layer cakes. But main thing to show you is how these colors go together, how they make a lovely outfit, and how the love tunic goes with the step top. So, not done yet. Got some more purple. A cap dress in Nightshade in the regular length, so calf length on me, worn with the regular length breeches in the large size, and Nightshade and Looking for Lilac, beautiful purples to wear together. The Looking for Lilac, of course, softened by the grey that it's cross-woven with, whereas the Nightshade, of course, is intensified by that aubergine purple or aubergine red that it's been cross-woven with. So lovely combination and a lovely silhouette. And like I've said before, this combination of dress and trousers, if you wear the regular length dress and the regular length trousers, you can see about how much of the trousers peeps out from under the dress. And especially with these breeches, that is makes for a really nice silhouette, because it just shows that lantern bit where the shape goes back in together with the where the skirt hits you on the leg. It's just where that taper comes in. So it's a beautiful combination to wear together. And one more color to show you before I move on to the next pair of trousers. This is blackcurrant stripe. Blackcurrant stripe and blackcurrant from a distance don't look that dissimilar. It's when you see up close, then you can see that there's a stripe in here. But from a distance, this looks quite similar to just a plain blackcurrant cross weave. And I wanted to show you how blackcurrant and Looking for Lilac go together. I think, again, it's a beautiful combination. Blackcurrant is made a little bit more purple by the purple that is in Looking for Lilac when you wear them together. So, time to move on to the next pair of breeches, because I'm only on pair number 3 and I've got 2 more to go. This is Bitter Lime. Bitter Lime, a very popular color amongst our palazzos, especially in winter time. Now also available in the breeches and highlighted specifically in the breeches with this pre-order. I'm wearing it here still with the blackcurrant stripe easy dress to show you another great example of contrasting colors from the color wheel. Blackcurrant and Bitter Lime, of course, on opposite sides and looking beautiful together. But I've got more colors to show you, closer towards bitter lime and further away. Here comes the first one. I showed you a cap gather dress before with the little cap sleeves. This is the gather dress with the 3/4 length sleeves, again in the size 1 regular length in chartreuse. Chartreuse, of course, fantastic with bitter lime. I'm sure I've shown that combination before, but I also wanted to show the combination of breeches with a cap gather dress. These, of course, are the regular length breeches. Let me bring in another color that I'm just going to throw on over the top of this dress. Showing you here that a gather dress is a wonderful base layer for a smock. I'm wearing the smock in a fiddle head, which is a cross weave of chartreuse, the color of the dress, but then cross woven with magpie, our dark greeny blue. And of course the resulting color is a green, but a very different green from the bitter lime. So I'm going to remove the dress from in between the smock and trousers so that you can see fiddle head and bitter lime worn more closely together. So fiddle head and bitter lime next to each other. And I've brought in another green because of course I needed something to wear underneath this smock. So this is a cap tunic, the longer shape, the cap tunic in spring greens, another green and another lovely combination. Of course this green has got chartreuse in it as well, so that's and then cross woven with a very pale blue, making a soft green. So 3 very different greens, but all really, really nice and exciting colors, because of course you can see from up close that they are all cross weaves. So one more color that I want to combine with bitter lime before I move on to the final color of breeches. A synergy duster, meaning sleeveless, in mixed spice. Of course mixed spice has got 2 colors that I've worn everywhere in this outfit. One is the blue of magpie, which of course is in my fiddle head smock, and the other color is the tobacco brown that of course is visible in my bitter lime trousers. So mixing and matching all those colors so that you always arrive at an outfit that looks wonderful together. And of course I can wear this outfit either with or without the smock. So you're seeing more of the cap love tunic here, cap tunic, not love tunic, cap tunic, in that lovely spring greens, light and bright color, combined with the soft mixed spice, spicy color. And then of course you can also see a little bit more of the mixed spice worn right next to bitter lime. Right, time to move on to the last of the 5 colors of breeches that I'm showing you today. The return of dark teal. Dark teal is a cross weave of teal and black. Was always one of our most popular colors. I discontinued it a while ago. I still regularly get questions about bringing it back, so I've brought it back. It's not the same as Royalty. I will combine it with Royalty in a minute so you can see how they are different, both from up close and distance. But here it is worn with that same spring greens cap tunic and the mixed spice synergy duster. Of course I'll bring that fiddle head smock back because that's a lovely color against dark teal. Here it comes. Fiddlehead and dark teal are wonderful together. Of course they have the dark blue of magpie that ends up pulling the fiddlehead closer to the dark teal. And the other thing that's really noticeable is how much bluer the dark teal looks when worn with colors that contain, of course, the bright and light chartreuse. So dark teal looking quite blue here, but I'm going to teal it up by changing the top that I'm wearing underneath this smock. Step 1, a teal cocoon love top, size 1. And look how bright and grassy Fiddlehead goes against the teal backdrop of dark teal and the top. So more teal. Let's change this then. Step 2, a black, in this case tabard. I don't show black hardly ever in the podcast. Not really fair, because it's a wonderful color for layer cakes. And of course there is black in the dark teal, and then the black is removed from the teal top. So the three together are a beautiful combination, and you can get a good impression here as well as to how a tabard looks with a pair of breeches. So I hope helpful. Now let me grab that royalty smock that I promised to show royalty and dark teal next to each other. A royalty smock, a dark teal pair of breeches, and a teal cocoon top. Beautiful combination, and you can see that dark teal and royalty are close together, but definitely not the same. The purple that is cross-woven with teal in royalty makes royalty look blue compared to the black that is cross-woven with teal in dark teal. That still makes a proper teal. So this is quite blue and this is more teal. Altogether, a lovely outfit. The other thing to highlight here is that the smock I'm wearing here is the same color as the one that I wore before in the sense that it's royalty, but this is a size 3. Now remember that I'm on the cusp between a size 1 and a size 2 with the smocks. I wear size 2s, so they skim nicely over my hips. But if I wanted to, I could wear a size 3 in the smocks. And this is just to remind you that you can play around with sizes, and if your weight fluctuates, the layer cakes will accommodate that. This is still not looking silly on me, even though it is, I've got plenty of positive ease, but those big armholes, and then if I would keep wearing it, the linen would just skim my body more and more as it would warm up and look fine as an outfit. So also to remind you that if you do have layer cakes that you just don't wear anymore because they're too large or too small, of course you can list them on our pre-loved pages. We've got pre-loved pages specifically for the UK that are managed by Treat, and pre-loved pages specifically for the rest of the world that I manage myself. So bear with me, I've just set that up. I'm getting the first bits of feedback, which luckily are positive. We are going live on the selling side. At the moment, we're just gathering the listings. We're going live on the selling side 1 week from the day that this podcast opens. So that is 1 week. I think that is the 6th. Is it the 6th of September? I think it is. I'll put it down below if I've got that wrong. Bear with me. I haven't checked my dates before I said this. So you can trade your pre-loved layer cakes, sell them to other layer cakers or anybody who wants to buy them, and buy other pre-loved layer cakes if you're interested in that, helping me to reduce my footprint and keep the footprint of layer cake as low as possible for all of us, and trying to prove to the world that you do not have to be a big brand in order to offer wonderful service. So I'm nearly there. That sounded like a bit of an end sprint and a bit of a soapbox moment. I wasn't planning on doing that because I've got one more garment to show you. Bit of an afterthought. We just realized, oh my gosh, we've forgotten something. Here comes one extra color of easy dress that I'm putting on pre-order, sneaking it in on pre-order on the website. Here it comes. This is an easy dress in the large new check that I introduced almost a year ago now. And when I introduced the easy dress very recently, I was so captivated by the large bride check, the new bride check, that I forgot that this would also be a wonderful check to do in the easy dress. So I'm sneaking in an extra pre-order for this check and the new bright check as well. Have a look on the website. If you missed out on the easy dress pre-order, you think, oh, when I've seen them now, I'm quite interested, then of course have a look and see if there's anything there that you like. If there isn't, give me a shout. I can try to accommodate other fabrics if you want to. I'll see if I can, and will of course let you know. But definitely on pre-order, extra pre-order snuck in, the easy dress in the large new check. Right, worn here, I need to say, with dark teal, which as you can see is a wonderful combination because there are dark tealy kind of squares in the large new check. Almost forgot to point that out. And like I said, this is a large easy dress and a large regular length pair of breeches. So that takes me to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for still being here. If you've watched it through to the end, well done you, putting up with all my rambles. I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching and good night. Oh dear. Thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon.